All right. Hello, hello, hello. We are about to get started. I see we got some people joining in. Hi. We're going to, we're just waiting on Chimmy. So I just wanted to give us a chance to start on time and get folks in the space. And we could actually do a little chat while we are waiting. So how's everyone feeling on this wonderful, Saturday evening? It's Saturday. It feels like the days are starting to blend together. So, but it is Saturday. And I am watching the comments. So how are people feeling this evening? How's everyone doing? And don't be shy. Talk back to us because we're going to definitely be taking some comments, questions, and things like that this evening. So we want to hear from you guys and we want to make sure that we are, engaging with our audience. Okay, really well. Love that. We always love to hear when people are doing really well. That's good. That's really good. How about anybody else? I can say for me, I am feeling in a pretty good mood too. It was a chill Saturday. Okay. Well, easeful. Love that. Okay. All right. Excited to see mental health being on the forefront of Black minds this year. Absolutely. That is one of our biggest goals is to not only engage in these conversations, but engage in them in spaces with people who look like us and make sure that we are doing our part in making conversations about mental health more accessible. And make sure we're touching on topics that are important to the Black community, specifically Black community here in New Orleans. And so, yeah, I am excited about that too. That's a big deal. Okay, so we're just hanging on still. If you're just joining, I'm waiting on my co-host. And I want to make sure I don't get too far ahead on anything before she gets here. But we are super excited to bring back the Power Hour series. If you are familiar with us, with NOLA Black Mental Health Matters, if you've been following us from the beginning, you know that we started with doing power hours. Like that was one of our first initiatives. And we used to do them in a different space. And so now it's going to look a little different this year. But it was, what we're doing now, which is choosing specific topics that we feel like people would be really interested in engaging in and talking about these things from a mental health perspective. And so it's really, this is the big thing. If you have a topic or something that you would like to see discussed or covered in this space, please shoot us a DM, leave a comment, however you want to reach out to us. We would love to hear back from you guys and to, actually hear from people about what it is that they want to hear folks talk about. And so that's something that's really important to us, especially this time around, is to make sure that we're getting that feedback from folks. So, yeah. And for folks who are watching now, you could definitely you could drop some comments in on what are some of those topics, like I just asked for, or if you're just joining while we're waiting for Chimmy, we're just doing a check-in, which is what's your temperature check right now? How are you feeling today or this evening? How was your day? It's really important to sometimes just reflect on that and say, how am I feeling right now in this moment? So, yeah, for sure. Hi. So I'm pausing really quickly because I think my co-host will be here in just a moment, but she's definitely she signaled me to do the intro. So I kind of already gave you guys a little bit of background about that, but let me tell you about Power Hours, but let me tell you about NOLA Black Mental Health Matters. So we are a collective of mental health professionals, Black female mental health professionals, who are really engaged with the process of helping to dismantle stigma related to mental health and mental illness, and also working towards eliminating barriers to care. And so we started back in 2019, actually, as a summit. We were just going to focus on doing a yearly summit. And from that point, we decided that, hey, we want to do a little bit more than that. And we want to kind of become an organization. So here we are. And so if you ever see me check down, like look down or something like that, I am a note taker. I love taking notes, referring to notes, checking on notes. So I've got my notebook right here with anything that I need to check in on. But yeah, that's a little bit about who we are. And NOLA Black Mental Health Matters Power Hours, just to kind of go back to that, is again one of our initiatives where we just engage, and engage must be my word of the evening. So if you hear me say it a couple more times, forgive me. But we want to engage the community in conversations around mental health and wellness. And this is one of the ways that we do it because we know the power of social media. It reaches a lot of people. It allows us to connect with folks we may not see from the day to day, or just may not run in those same circles and spaces. But it allows us to really come together and to have these really fruitful and engaging and thought-provoking conversations. And so this evening, our topic is New Year, now what? And I think we're going to have a really good one once Chimmy comes on. That's going to be a really good topic. But let me give you a little bit about myself. My name is Dr. Chanel Baptiste, and I am currently provisionally licensed in the state of Louisiana with clinical psychology. So I'm working towards full licensure, which, you know, sends up some good vibes for you, girl. Hopefully will be happening over the course of the next few months. But my area is clinical psychology, and I actually graduated from a program down here at the Chicago School of Professional Psychology. So yes, I'm currently a postdoctoral fellow. I do assessment as well as therapy with children and adults. And I also am founder of NOLA Black Mental Health Matters. So I see we had another check-in here where it's like, I'm feeling loved on a date with my hubby. I love that. That's so nice. It seems like everybody's like in a really good vibe and a good mood this evening. That's great. That is fantastic. So I love that for you. I hope it's going super well. And for anyone else who's joining in, we're just doing like little check-ins and things and seeing how folks are feeling. Because I am one half of the power hours this evening. I'm waiting on my co-host, Chimmy, to join. And we will get started in a minute or so. She should be hopping on in just a second. But anyone else want to give some feedback on how they are feeling this evening? We're just doing like a check-in. How was your Saturday? Your chilly Saturday? Because 5 seconds ago we were warm, and now we are actually chilly again. I think today was colder, but then tomorrow or something we'll be back in the warm temperatures. But how's everyone feeling this evening? If you haven't chimed in, hi, I see some familiar faces. Hey, y'all. Thank you for coming in. But, you know, talk to your girl while waiting on my girl. And let me know how you guys are feeling. And let's just chat with each other. Because that's what this is about, is having a dialogue. Let's see. I'm going to go through the comments. Feeling good. Hey, love. Hello. How are you? I miss you. We have to see each other real soon whenever you are in town. For sure. That's like in that program that I graduated from, I had the opportunity to meet so many wonderful, just like uplifting, kind people. And I will forever be grateful for riding that roller coaster with them because it was a roller coaster ride for sure. But thank you for hopping in, babe. All right, so let's see how this works here. I'm going to have her join in. I think this is how we do this. All right. Okay, so it's saying that you need to update your Instagram, Jimmy. So let's give her 5 seconds to do that. And we will do it. Get ready. So, as with most things, you gotta, do a little technological. So while she's doing that, let's see if I can go ahead and try and add her in again. Okay. She's updating. So, okay. Hi, Justin. Hi, folks. I wish I had some music in the background. That's something that I have to do next time. It's like I'm gonna have some soft music or something in the background just in case we have to wait a little while. But yeah, just waiting for a second more, and let's see if she pops back in. But for anyone who is just joining in and watching us from wherever you are, if you're in New Orleans, if you're somewhere else, wherever you're watching us from, this is NOLA Black Mental Health Matters Power Hour. And it is a conversation for us, or it's a space for us to have conversations about mental health and wellness. And yeah, okay, here we go. All right. Let's see. So waiting for Chim to pop on in. Hmm. I think that's how that works. Okay, I'm accepting it. Anybody know why it wouldn't work? Because I think you're supposed to just press the button and accept. And that's definitely what I'm doing. And I turned off my light. So, hmm. Or I wonder if I can add someone. Let's try it this way. Okay. So I've invited her now. And let's see if she can do it that way. There we go. Hi.
Hello. Hi. Oh,
You're welcome. How are you?
I'm well.
Awesome. Okay. Cool. Well, we were just in here chatting and letting the folks check in and say how they're doing today. And feels like everybody's in a good space, feeling good, which is always a good thing.
Yes, indeed. I am in a good space as well. Trying to rest up. I've gotten sick, so
Oh,
I'm trying to
oh, well, that's.
technical difficulties too, but we'll be all right.
But if this is not an example of life real time, where it's like you have plans, it's gonna go a certain way, and then life is like, haha, you thought. So it's all good. It's all good. You're here, we're here, and I'm so excited to be back with Power Hours. So I kind of gave them, the folks who have joined, an intro to what our Power Hours are and what NOLA Black Mental Health Matters is. And I did a little bit of an introduction for myself. So why don't you introduce yourself to the people?
My name is Chimwapawa Blackman, also known as Chimmy to most. I am what am I? I am a I'm a student in clinical psychology for one, graduate student still. I am all but dissertation, ABD, but it is coming along and that wraps up my doctorate. I'm also a doctoral intern currently in Dallas. So that should be wrapping up in about 6 months and we'll see what happens after that. I would say that in terms of my specialty in mental health, I would be considered a trauma specialist, but I can treat all kinds of diagnoses.
Awesome, awesome. Yes, so this is y'all, this is my ace boom boom from the very beginning of that doctoral journey. So I was just saying, it's like we got to meet so many cool people on during this process, during this roller coaster ride of a process.
No,
Yeah, when we talk about like with NOLA Black Mental Health Matters and where we started back in 2019, we were in the same class when like the idea popped up, and it's just like I have access to all of these really cool people to help make this thing happen. And Chimney is one of the like integral parts that makes this thing happen. So
yeah.
yes.
Thank you. Yeah. And I just want to give a shout out to you, Chanel Baptiste, for keeping it going. This requires a lot of consistency. It requires somebody to like just hit the ground and continue running, and that's you. And so kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. And yeah, that's how we do this. And so why don't we kick off and talk about our topic, which is New Year, now what? And do you want to maybe let's talk a little bit about why we chose that title? Like why New Year, now what?
Yeah. So a lot of people like to say new year, new me. And we just want to like shift the narrative around new year, new me, because it's not easy to just snap your fingers and think just because a new year rolls around on New Year's Day that you're going to be a different person. But new year, now what brings just the question of now, what do I want to do? Now, what kind of plans do I want to make? Now, what do I want to work towards? A bit better. It's something more attainable.
Right. Right. Yeah, no, it just feels more kind of realistic, right? Like when you go into the new year, sometimes the question is now what, you know? And so we felt like, hey, why don't we have a real conversation around what it's like to set resolutions, what it's like to, actually make those resolutions happen, what are the challenges we come up against with that, and also why it's okay to say new year, same me, but but on the pathway to being whatever better might be for me at the time or whatever I'm aiming for. So I already told the people, I said I have notes in front of me because I like to make sure that I stay on track,
I was
and we want to be respectful of
work
people's
out.
time. Yeah, we're gonna make it happen. So we kind of started talking about like, why we chose the title, but I want us to kind of get into the whole idea of New Year, new me. Like what exactly does new me mean? Like what does it mean to you? I have my thoughts.
Um, well, just shifting away from new me, but to now what? I think the question of now what brings to mind for me, like, what is it that I want to do now to kind of transform myself? Like, how do I see myself changing? How do I see myself being a better version of me?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's still me, but just a new and improved version of myself. And like always, something that tends to come up every year just because of the expectation of New Year's resolutions. So we think about these things regardless. And what I'm thinking about this year is just financial improvement. Things are going to be very different for me in this year, this next cycle, and the year afterwards. So just reframing how I look at finances and really setting goals around that. And then just what kind of inner work do I feel like I need to do? So it's an attainable goal that'll help me to achieve some sort of success.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that's intrinsic that, only I can see, only I can measure, and maybe like the ones who are closest around me.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we're going to get into like, because we all have our personal goals, right? And like, how exactly do we achieve these things? Like, first and foremost, how do we do that kind of self-assessment to determine what exactly the goal is? But then how do we get there once we've decided what it is? And, I like how you kind of brought it back to it's like new year, but now what? It's not about a new me. And I, in more recent years, have started to push back on the idea of a new me because I've realized that with every new year, I don't feel like a new me. Like nothing is really drastically changing about who I am. And even when I set like these goals of this is what I'm going to do differently and all that kind of stuff, they always seem to fall apart by the end of January. And it's just like, exactly what am I saying or what am I trying to do when I say like a new year, new me? Is there a way that I can reframe that and think about that differently that doesn't mean, like that is still meaningful? Because I think it's meaningful to people when they say like a new me. But, like for me personally, it's like I like me. For the most part, I like where I am. And is there just anything that I want to change about that, improve, and those sorts of things? So, of course, being, doctoral level clinicians and stuff, we always are reading like research and just constantly in a book, in an article, or something like that. So I was reading up, and this thing of like why we have that whole new year, new me thing is there was some research that came out in 2014 that coined the term fresh start effect. And it's like with the new year, the way they framed it was it allows us to set temporal landmarks. So like there's a beginning and an end. There's a before and an after. So when we come around to a birthday,
Yeah.
when we come around to a new year, it's like this is like the time to do a fresh start.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of like a line of demarcation where it's just like this is where the new stuff starts.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the old stuff ends. This is where I can start to push everything else that happened, in the past. Like that's old me. This is new me. So yeah, I thought that was super interesting, and just how we frame this whole New Year thing to begin with.
Exactly. Exactly. It's very interesting. Like, just as I was saying, every year we all have this kind of timestamp, and then, culturally, we're celebrating the new year. So we also validate this timestamp as a place where we need to start making changes if we haven't made them. So what do you do? What do you feel about New Year, New Me, or New Year Now What?
I would say for me, for as far as 2023 is concerned, I have been focused on who I am currently and how do I nurture that person? Because there doesn't need to be a new person. I think I like Chanel just as she is. A lot of people like Chanel just as she is, and it's like I don't know. I think I'm pretty cool, and it's just like I think that from with that, it's like where am I feeling that I am lacking either physically, spiritually, mentally, anything like that, where might there be gaps or where might there be, just some areas where I haven't felt as refreshed or, it's like there's something there. And so
Yeah.
that's why it's kind of like a now what, because I love that as a question, right? It's like not new year, new me implies like kind of just some action, like it's there. We just go in and we start over, and this is just what we're going to do. New person.
Right.
But now what allows us to really evaluate exactly what do we want to do. And so like for you, you mentioned financial, like say it one more time for me how you framed it, because I don't want to.
So I have financial goals. So I
Financial, yeah.
be like financially astute. I want to really like get into financial well-being, so to speak. With finances comes a lot of stress, and I think
Mm-hmm.
there's to mitigate that stress if
Mm-hmm.
you plan well, if you're keeping track of things well, if you know where your money is going and what you need your money to, feed, or what you need your money to grow in your life. I think that, it creates less stress. So that's what I want to work on.
Okay. So you made a good point. I think this is a good point to kind of transition, right? Because we're talking right now about our New Year's goals, and we're kind of already touching on like how we set them, with first saying that we kind of do the self-assessment of
Mm-hmm.
where are we right now, what are our needs moving forward, what are some things that we might want to tweak, you know. But we know that, studies have shown that a lot of people start off the year with a resolution, but they never quite either like meet that goal, or, as soon as they say, this is what I'm going to do, there's never kind of like this follow up into actually doing it. And so I got, of course, some of the challenges listed right here of what makes it hard to even, because like if we're gonna be like new, not new me, but same me but better, we need to figure out how do we actually meet these goals first by identifying
Mm-hmm.
what stops us from doing it in the first
Yeah.
place. So one of those things, one the researcher, and I apologize, I'm saying like the researcher. I'm gonna go back and maybe post the links to some of these articles in our stories once we're done, so you guys can read these articles as well, because they link you to the researchers as well. But there was one that said, like we have like our desires are in the moment,
Yes.
very in the moment. So like in that moment, that's what we want to do. 5 hours ago, that's not what we want to do. But then also 5 hours later, that desire can change. It can feel less strong. So
Mm-hmm.
like that's one big thing. Like, how do you feel about that?
Um, Before we get there, like, did we talk about self-assessment like in depth as you wanted to?
Well, no, yeah, let's spin the block on that, because that little inventory, like doing that inventory on what you need is important. That's how we get here. So let's go back to that then, yeah.
I think that even if people, no matter what, you know,
Mhm.
people as they live life, they are in tune with themselves and the things that they're going through
Mhm.
that makes them get to the point where I want to say, I want to achieve this. I have this as a goal for myself. This is something I don't want to do anymore. So we all have like this, and we look at ourselves internally, but sometimes we don't always look as deep, or we don't always we're not always as in tune with certain things as we want to be. So say for example, we have like an intrinsic goal, like we have a goal for our identity. We want ourselves to be more compassionate. Let's say that's the goal. Then that requires us to look at patterns in our life, and I don't think people do that as much.
Mhm.
I think that people's
Mhm.
goals are more so focused on things that are like tangible, like, do I rent a house or do I own a home? Do I have a car? Do I have the necessities? How much money is left for me after all of my bills are paid? People tend to look at that more because it's right in our faces and it has to do with our daily living. But, things that are more intrinsic, things are like that we have to work on personally, we don't necessarily pay as much attention to those things. And it just requires for you to look at patterns in your life
Mhm.
and notice as you go through life what situations you're going through, and is there some sort of pattern there. Have you been through that before, um, and how do you react to things? So I think that's part of it.
Oh, you brought up a point right there, man. That patterns.
Patterns is the point.
Patterns is the point.
Mhm.
And you're so right, because I think that it can be hard to kind of reflect and think like, wow, I have been doing the same thing over and over. Like I know, like, this kind of guy is probably not the best option. However, I want desire in the moment. I want what I want right now in this moment.
Yeah.
And so if we go back and take inventory on like, wow, I've been doing the same kind of thing over and over and over again. And I'm realizing now in doing that self-assessment, the impact that that has had on me, how
Yeah,
that makes me feel at the end of the day, or even like since we're talking about like this whole refresh, if we look over the course of the year, like, wow, this was a rough year.
yeah.
I've been, I've been up to some shit.
Yeah. And
You know?
like sometimes situations kind of it bypasses
Mhm.
different types of situations. So we have like interpersonal situations that run the gambit. We have
Right.
romantic relationships, we have friendships, we have professional relationships, but we
Hmm.
can have an issue that is a part of ourself, a part of our identity at this point that can be something that we need to shift and change. Like say for example, for me, I'm not the type of person to go towards conflict. I
Hmm.
don't think I do conflict well, even though there's some people that I definitely trust to, bring a situation to,
Hmm.
you being one. Me and you can talk about all sorts of stuff, and we know that there's going to be bad blood because we genuinely care about each other, love one another, and like want to be around one another. And so
Right.
we're to like lay it all out there, good feelings, bad feelings in between. Whereas, with some people, you don't have that trust that's developed. And so you don't necessarily want to, be in conflict with that person for like fear of losing them. That's what it is for me. And so, yeah, situations that we have to really look at the patterns, not just in specific types of situations that we get in like romantic partnerships, but just across the board. Like, how do I react in certain type of situations? How do I behave? Is there something I need to do better, even if I feel like I'm being wronged, or if I feel like I'm in the right in this situation? Like,
Right.
how can I be different?
Right. Right. And that's just like one of many examples, right? This is like, what are my patterns of cleaning up my house and studying and all of these different things? Like us doing that deep self assessment and reflecting and sitting with yourself, and sometimes being very uncomfortable with what you have, observed about certain things and being like, okay, that's okay that I'm not okay right now, but I am at least reflecting and recognizing that this is something that I want to change. And you and I know Prochaska and DiClemente's stages of changes, like stages of
Yep.
change. It is a very big factor in determining where you are and where you like what's going to be the thing that we have to do in this moment in order to kind of get you from point A to point B. So if you don't recognize that there's something that needs to change or there's a pattern, pre-contemplation stage, we're not really doing much, it's not going to happen at that moment. At that moment.
Right. And I think that's where people get kind of caught up with New Year, New Me, you know,
Mm-hmm.
stages of changes, and you have to be aware, of where you are in terms of your commitment to change, because that's where you start to achieve success if you have the plan in place.
Exactly. So let's say we are past pre-contemplation. We are past even contemplation. Like we are preparing now
Yes.
to take action.
Yeah.
Let's look at those things that kind of get in the way. So we talked about one of them where it was like desires only existing in the moment,
Hmm.
and folks not really seeing kind of like a long-term situation, but just what they want to do in the moment. So another thing to that too is what people have found, what research has found, is that the types of goals that we set, like say if we actually do find something that we really are can like say like yes, this is something I want to do. They found that approach oriented goals are actually more likely to be met versus avoidance oriented goals. And so oriented goals, getting the words out. Approach oriented goals are things like something new, something like that you want to set, like I want to start painting more often. I want to engage in dance classes and things like that versus say an avoidance oriented goal, which is like stopping something. I want to stop smoking. I want to stop eating unhealthy, those sorts of things. They found that people have more of a challenge, not that they don't meet them, but they have more of challenges with stopping versus starting something new.
That makes sense. Approach versus avoidant
Mm,
oriented. That makes sense.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, because I've thought about it. I was like, man, I don't know how many years ago I stopped doing this, but once upon a time when I was like, I don't know what was the motivation even, but I was like, I'm not gonna curse anymore. I'm gonna start the new year and I'm not going to curse.
Did you?
Girl,
Was,
I curse like my daddy. I really do. So,
was
yeah,
on the highway, girl.
yes.
That's yeah. That makes a lot of sense. What What about that? What about those things make it difficult? Is it that it's habit?
Well, that's an interesting point that you make because one of the things that they say that helps with actually setting a New Year's resolution is creating habits,
Hmm.
which can actually help in the, instances when you are feeling low
Yeah.
motivation. Like motivation on its own, the desire to do it on its own is not enough. You need the tools to actually achieve the goal. You need to like the kind of environment that is conducive to actually get these things done. Just wanting to do it alone sometimes isn't enough to actually get there. So yeah.
To that extent, that just reminds me, like whether it's an approach or avoiding goal, whether it's something you want to start or stop, a lot of times we bite off more than we can chew,
Mm-hmm.
and what gets in the way of our success with certain goals.
Right. And this is something like a thought that I had earlier, and it was another one, and I don't have it kind of like on my list, but I think something that's real about setting resolutions is this pressure that we feel to be whatever it is that we think is the ideal self, the ideal person, the most accepted person, all of these sorts of things. So, like, when we think about, for example, because this is always the big one, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to, lose weight, I'm going to do all of these things. And I think one of the things that can make that really challenging is like, what's the motivating factor for that? Are you doing this for you? Are you
Right.
doing this for someone
Hmm.
else? For to be more accepted in society? Because I talk about this with anybody who will listen. It's like we live in a very ableist society. We live in a fat phobic society. Like society is not kind to the folks in the margins and the folks among us who don't fit into the certain standard. And so when I think about certain like goals that people set with that kind of thing, it's like, what is the motivating factor behind that? Because then all of the pressure to get that done is either going to make you crack, like it's going to be very hard, or you're going to beat yourself up so bad if you don't meet a certain thing, like based on whatever motivating factor there is. And if it's not you, if it's not, I'm just doing this for my actual health,
Hmm.
wait aside, am I doing this for my health and wellness and stuff like that? If it's not centered or oriented in that way, I just think it makes it that much more challenging and that much more like you're sitting in a pressure cooker at that point. It's not fun.
Yeah. What do you do with that? Because people still want to do it. People still
Mm-hmm.
have weight loss goals because there's beauty standards that they want to meet. People still do that. People tend to go on under the knife because of that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, not to get too off topic, but I feel like that kind of goes back to our whole conversation about self-assessment
Yeah.
and really doing that deep dive in and like understanding what motivates you, what drives you. Are there concerns that you have about yourself that are rooted in some of these more problematic ways in which we think in society. And that's real. We all deal with it, you know, and you and I as Black women understand, you know, the challenges that we face in, like, as far as being acceptable and presentable and all of these sorts of things. And so it's really important that we are able to do that kind of work. And I think be able to say that, you know, this isn't even really about me. Like this whole, I want to go run to the gym on January 1st. A lot of people do that because they think that's the thing to do. This is
Mm-hmm.
like the whole reset. This is the, you know, fresh start effect.
Mm-hmm.
New year, new body, new all of this, new all of these certain things. And it's not rooted in a what do you want to do for you? That's not everybody's story. I'm not saying that everybody who wants to lose weight is motivated by the fact that other people are trying to lose weight. You may be doing it for you. But also, even in that, just knowing, like, again, kind of orienting it back to, am I doing this for like health reasons? Am I doing this for, you know, image reasons, whatever the case may be? And even in deeper than that, is this a healthy thing? What are realistic expectations that I can set for myself so that I am really doing this for my well-being?
Mm-hmm.
So there's layers, always layers.
There's always layers. And I think that there are some goals that people can have where they are on the bandwagon,
Mm-hmm.
but it's really healthy. For example, a lot of people are seeking out therapy now.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. We have a lot of people doing that.
So, how do we achieve these goals?
So, ways to help. I love this because this kind of goes in what you were saying. That last thing was group motivation.
Mm-hmm.
So, sometimes it's hard to do it alone. But when we're in spaces where there are shared goals, when there are people who are, you know, kind of just aiming, if not for the same thing, somewhere in the same kind of arena, it
Right.
can help to see somebody do something or they're doing something that keeps kind of pushing us along. So, like, for example, when we used to study together, we may be studying something different. We may be in different parts of the textbook or whatever the case may be. But to be in a space to say, like, we're this year, this semester,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to hit the ground running and, you know, like, we're going to ace this
Right.
class. Being in the same space as somebody with a very similar goal was helpful in motivating us, motivating each other to, you know,
Keep
like
going.
we're to keep going. Like, yeah, like with our qualifying exams
Keep
and stuff.
going. Keep
Yeah,
up.
keep going, keep
Like
up.
you've been pushed
Um,
higher and you don't want to do it.
and just having a shoulder too to be like, I am like fed up. I'm tired. I don't want to do this right now. You know, like those sorts of things. It is helpful to have that, like, look to your left, look to your right, and just say, like, okay, this is, you know, somebody's still going. I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I think it's helpful is to start small, especially with
Mm-hmm.
small in the sense of there's two examples of it. So especially in the sense of wanting to stop something, it's important not some people are able to stop things cold turkey. Some people have that in. But for some people cutting back, even minimum might help
Yeah.
you to reach your ultimate goal. But having those small goals in between, having those small objectives, can help you to get motivated and to like feel rewarded when you achieve that little bit of success
Mm-hmm.
to keep going with the goal.
Absolutely. And reflecting on those goals, like reflecting on those little
Mm-hmm.
wins. And so, like, one of the things too is like progress monitoring. When we think of things like in those temporal landmarks with a beginning and an end, because another challenge that people have is the kind of like the middle problem,
Yeah.
which is that we start strong, we start to kind of putter out in the middle, and then when we get to like that right at the finish line, we kind of like rev it back up again. And so, like, with that progress monitoring, with that breaking it down into smaller pieces, you know, it's like we can take little chunks, We could be really happy with our little chunks. And then we kind of go back and look at after a while, like, oh, look at all these little like things that I did to get to my larger goal. And it helps us to reframe that middle, right?
Yeah.
Like we know, for example, with grad school, that in the beginning we were eager beavers, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed,
Right.
ready to take on the world. By the time we hit the middle, it looked like they had dragged us through the swamp. Like it was
Wondering like, why did I want to do this, and what
right.
am I for?
We started questioning everything. It's
Yes.
just like this is a lot. But it if you know in retrospect and thinking about like when we were in that third year and we're kind of in that slump of, oh my god, I'm almost there but I'm not there, and you're just kind of like losing your pace, it helps to progress monitor and think about, well, wow, I finished my first year, I finished a second year, I finished like my comps, like all sort, like look at the things that you accomplished on the way to
Right.
where you are now, and almost use that as another way to start another marker. Like your middle can be the beginning of the next phase.
Yeah. So reflecting, I remember when I started, this is where I was, and it was very difficult, but I even surpassed where I was.
Mm-hmm.
And look how good did that feel?
Mm-hmm.
And know that it's going to feel good when I reach this next marker for sure.
Right. And to keep this in theme with the like new year, but now what kind of thing, or like even the new year, same me, is that it's like you have been taking just little bitty steps to transform whatever it is that you're working towards. So in a way, it's like it's still the same you there, but it's like little bits of you now that have grown in some way, or you have taken a step in a different direction and it feels a little bit different. So you're still that same awesome person that you were in 2022, but now in 2023, you are, just trending in a little bit of a, kind of maybe a different direction, or you're doing something new that makes you even more proud of yourself, happy with yourself, content with where you are, whatever it is, or however you want to kind of frame it or phrase it, you know? And another one too, I like this one, is number your goals.
For sure.
So yes, so much easier to say, I am going to read 3 books over the course of the next 8 weeks versus saying I'm going to read more books.
Exactly. So actually making it an objective that you can measure, having it broken down into a time frame.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like really giving yourself an opportunity to do that progress monitoring by saying, okay, look, I know that this is what I want to do in this particular time frame, and this is how I'm going to monitor that and kind of keep up with that. And I love this too because it can go back to the whole group motivation thing, where it's like, if I want to do that, maybe I join a book club.
Yeah.
Maybe I go to the library and read and see other people reading, and that helps me focus and to concentrate and less distractions because it's quiet. So they all kind of can be linked together in some ways.
Of course. Just to add to that, sometimes we have goals that are really big. Sometimes we might to start a business or something of that nature that requires you to measure your goals, have down for them, and break them into small itty bitty pieces that are, easily attainable within the time frames that you said.
Right. Right. So I know like the reading thing is one for me that I want to work on, because it's like, and in the age of social media and how it is so time consuming and stuff like that, which I'll say social media isn't this big evil. It has a lot of negative things associated with it, but then there's some positive things. So it's not all bad, But when we say, for example, for myself, I used to be an avid reader as a child. That was my thing. It was always my thing. And this kind of goes back again like the same me kind of thing, where it's just like, I'm just trying to get back to that. I'm just trying to get
Yeah.
back to a part of my life that brought me a lot of joy, which is reading. And so it's like, how do I do that in this space where it's like I have a full-time job, you know, we're running NOLA Black Mental Health Matters, we're making this organization thing happen. Like, how do I do that and take little bitty steps, count like I did 30 pages today and feel proud of that, and eventually reach my goal of, yeah, I'm going to have knocked out half of these books that I have purchased that have been sitting on my desk staring back at me. You know?
Yeah. I think for me it's just I had a very good work-life balance.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, I've always danced. I've danced all my entire life. I don't know how I used to do everything. So being doing great academically, I was dancing probably multiple times a week, and I would be reading too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to get back to that. I want to get back to having a good work-life balance.
Yeah. I love that. And yes, we have one comment here where Sky is like, I love that getting back. Yeah, like
Yeah.
you know, like this whole new me thing. It's like, what are we throwing away exactly? Like, what? When we say a new me means there's an old me that's getting tossed out. But in reality, we're not throwing away all of ourselves at the beginning of the year. We are really and truly just focusing on specific aspects of our lives that we want to see change. And again, like the point that we made earlier is that a lot of us have like, we're good in the spaces that we in, like who we are
Yeah.
is good. What we want to do, how we want to approach things and all that kind of stuff, that's different, but it's still who we are. We're just tweaking some things.
Mm-hmm.
So we're answering that now what question with us, like, how do we tweak that? How do we do that? How do we get back if we felt that we lost our way? I do want us to ask
Yeah.
questions or answer some questions
No
here. I see some
love
comments.
is, I think it's more of a renewal.
I like that, like a refresh.
Yeah.
hmm It's almost like if you think about like a baptism, if you will, kind of in a way. In a way, well, all right, I'll say it like this because I know the whole baptism thing is like you're supposed to be coming up a new person. I did not. I got baptized when I was 8.
Girl.
Same person. Same person came out of that water. I was just actually
Yeah.
so maybe I don't know, maybe not a bad, but it's like in a way where I think it's just kind of like this refreshed, renewed kind of spirit. Like if you maybe go to a spa day is maybe a better way to think about it. And you go in, you have tension, you have all of this kind of like muscle aches and all of that, and then you go in, you get a facial and you get a massage and you get a pedicure and stuff, and you come out feeling renewed, refreshed, a better kind of ready version of yourself than who you came in with.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 2023 is like, I'm just going to the spa.
I like, or like a home renovation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have things about your home that you really like. You love the structure.
Mm-hmm.
Want to take the kitchen out and redo that kitchen.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if the kitchen's your body or if the kitchen is, you know, you loving people better. But you're going to take that kitchen out, put a new kitchen in. Let's redo the bathroom too. Maybe I want to
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more clean this year. I want to make sure I have the time to do my dusting. When am I going to do it? Then that's you in the bathroom and so on and so on.
Right. Like I want to paint an accent wall.
Yes, paint an accent wall, a new
You know?
activity.
Yeah. You know something, I like that though. Like the foundation is the same. The structure is the same. You are the same in the sense that that is like the same person going into the new year, but there's things that you can tweak and change and build up too, new appliances. That could be like this is how I process my emotions. This is how I've been doing it. The way I process my emotions is like a white refrigerator. It's kind of outdated. I need to upgrade to stainless steel. You know, I need to control that anger a little bit better. You know, like I need to monitor how I talk to people or how I respond to things when I'm sad. I need to upgrade my appliances. But still, same foundation, same house.
For sure. All right. I think we've hit it. Have we hit it?
I think we did. There's always so much more to say, but there's always not enough time. And so, if there's any last thoughts from anybody who's been watching, tuning in, we'd love to hear from you real quick before we go on and wrap things up. Hi. Hello. Hello. Any thoughts on the topic, you guys? What it means, like new year, now what? Like, what's your now what? I know my now what is to actually be consistent with the gym. I just enjoy working out. It's a good stress reliever.
I've been trying. I'm gonna be committed to dancing. I've been able to commit to that. It's easier for me. And so that's gonna be my commitment for now. My commitment, and before I get to the whole gym and being committed to that, I need to get committed to a good schedule here at home and just move forward from there, build from there.
Oh yeah. It's always something about scheduling. Like my whole thing is I can work out, but I also should be studying for my licensing exam. And so,
Always that. It's always like I could do this,
mhm,
but I have to be doing this. And
right.
yeah, it just trickles down.
But
So
one of our last points too is creating habits via task repetition.
yeah, yeah,
So even when you're feeling low motivation,
yes,
even when those thoughts are coming up,
yes.
make it so much that it's a habit that it's like this is a part of this built into the routine now. I have to
Not
just
my
oh
on it and take a walk.
ah oh yes. Okay, so I keep my walking.
I
Yes, guy. Yes. See, you saying that goes back to our group motivation because guess where I'm going to be this week?
I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm probably not gonna do anything that's related to well,
Be
to
honest with
my goal.
yourself, you know.
I'm not, but
That's okay
do
because
it. See,
you're in the
see that?
contemplation stage. You're not in the action.
No, no, but to be honest, I have set a goal
Yeah.
to make sure I work sometimes late, and so I tend to wake up later on those days. My goal is to wake up pretty much at the same time, even if I have to work late, so that I
Mm-hmm.
get more accomplished in my mornings, and to be more productive, to like really grind this next 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
That has been happening so far, even with me feeling sick and all this. So, I'm good, but I'm
Right.
just not going to do something productive after this.
Right. No, not after this. But hey, flexibility is important too, right? We got to know that even if you didn't hit your mark that day, that week, or that month and stuff, you can keep trying and keep going. So, if there's no other last minute thoughts and things, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. And let's do like a quick what is your takeaway from this conversation?
For me,
Mm-hmm.
my takeaway from this conversation is that um, when we come to a new year, and it could be the new year that is, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, or it could be whatever landmark you'd like it to be. It could be your birthday, it could be someone else's birthday, it could be a certain time of year that you can have a goal for yourself that you want to achieve, and in order to like have some success with that goal, make sure that you're writing it down, make sure that you are setting a time frame for that goal, make sure that it's attainable, make sure that if it's a large goal that you are making those small steps, and even when you have difficulty being motivated, maybe call a friend to keep you motivated,
Right.
follow somebody who's in the same shoes or doing something similar.
Mm-hmm.
um, know that habits will change if you just stay consistent even when you're not motivated.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I guess my takeaway from this is, I think what I've been saying throughout is that who I am last year was just as good as who I am going into this year. And I am making, little tweaks and changes that are right for me. It doesn't have to be a new me, it just has to be a refreshed me, maybe a more motivated me, but still very much so me. And for some people, there are bigger goals. Some people, they are looking to do a whole like 180.
Mhm.
And to your point, what you said about taking smaller steps, remember that you can reach those bigger goals, but you don't have to do it overnight. It is something that there's going to be bumps in the road at times, but it's okay. It's okay. And if you don't quite reach it, if you said, I'm going to take 10,000 steps and you took 9,999, still reflect on the fact that you took all them damn steps shy of one, but okay. You still did something that, you really worked hard towards, and that's important. So, yeah, it's okay to have low motivation. Sometimes we just got to work through it. And it's okay to say, I didn't set a resolution this year. I'm actually all right. There's no new things that I'm trying to work on this year. I'm just trying to survive, which for a lot of people, that's what it is. It's like, I don't have time for all that. I just got to survive. So it's like, how do we then even think about that? And what does survival look like, not only in the physical aspect, not only in the like literal aspect, but like mentally, spiritually, all of the different things. So
Yeah.
that's my takeaway.
Awesome.
But yeah, I was like, and if anyone had any thoughts or takeaways too, you can always throw them in the comments. But for now, let's start with like our announcements. If you've heard of our Wellness Wednesdays, if you've been to one of our Wellness Wednesdays, it's lit. It's a time.
Come on through.
It's a time. So next Wednesday, we are actually doing another one. This past Wednesday, we were talking about the misinformation of mental health. And this coming Wednesday, we are talking about creating your wellness journey. So some of what we talked about in here this evening, we're going to circle back to that on this coming Wednesday. And guess what? Free yoga. What?
I love
Can
that.
If you want to jumpstart your fitness journey, if that's your thing or whatever, come do some free yoga. And it's at Dream House Lounge, which is at 401 Barone Street. And we will be starting promptly at 5:30 with the social hour. And then yoga starts at 5:45. And then the discussion that we'll be having will actually start at 6:15.
Beautiful. Any other announcements?
If you are a Black mental health professional, we are working towards getting a community going down here. We want us to be able to see that we're down here, know where each other works, and like the practices. Where's your practice? What do you work? Who do you work with? And those sorts of things. We're trying to build community. So we are going to actually be at uh, oh yeah, for sure. Wait, which flyer? Wellness Wednesdays, or because the Wellness Wednesday flyer is on our page now for this coming Wednesday. We're actually it's posted on our page, and the NOLA Black Mental Health Matters Black MHP Mixer flyer has been going around. We've sent that out. Oh,
And
awesome. Oh, I will
send
send that to you.
the DM.
Yeah, shoot us a DM and I will send you that flyer. But yeah, if you know a Black mental health professional, if you are a Black mental health professional, and you don't have to be yet licensed, you could be provisionally licensed. You can be a student, preparing to become a mental health professional. We just want to create a community for Black folks in this field to be able to see each other, know that we're here, and commune and share space. So that's going to be on the 27th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Second Vine Wine. So, yeah, it's absolutely the place to be. Yes, Wellness Wednesdays, they are the spot. And I mean, we have so much coming up for you guys. It's about to be like off the chain for real. And power hours, we are back in effect. Yes.
I in the Dallas area, and so I cannot be at all of the New Orleans things that NOLA Black Mental Health Matters does, but I am still here with you guys through the power hours.
Yes, you will be present and accounted for. And our next power hour is actually going to be on February 11th. I cannot wait to do the big reveal of what that topic is going to be on, but we have a very special guest. Super excited about that. So, February is all about a little bit of lovey and stuff and all that kind of stuff. So we'll be on theme. Don't worry. Yes, and thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We appreciate everyone who continues to support us doing this because it is a labor of love, and we cannot do it without the people who continue to support us and make this happen. So we appreciate you guys. But yeah, like I said, if you are a Black mental health professional, shoot us a DM so that we can get that flyer out to you. Wellness Wednesday flyer is posted on our page. The flyer for the next power hour will be posted on our page. Also, I got to do our plug is that if you are a Black mental health professional, and we've been creating this directory for 617 years, y'all, but I promise it's coming.
Worth it.
It's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. But if you are practicing, if you're in private practice, if you're a specific clinic, fill out the form that the link is in our bio so that we can have your information because we are always getting requests for Black mental health professionals. People are looking for therapists. And through that resource, we've been able to give people contact information and have folks, direct them to the right places and spaces. So continue to share that, fill that out if you haven't. And I think we are ready to wrap.
All right.
All right. Until next time, you guys. We need a slogan to close us out.
Thank you for joining NOLA Black Mental Health Matters Power Hour series. This series topic was New Year, now what?
Mm-hmm. And until next time, we're going to come up with a nice phrase though. But bye.
Bye, y'all.